Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Michael Ybarra, and I'm Vice President of Medical Affairs at PhRMA. I'm also an emergency physician at one of the local hospitals here in Washington, D.C. I want to thank Research America for organizing such a phenomenal event. You all do an incredible job of bringing together stakeholders that don't always agree on everything, but do agree that the United States has the most robust research and development ecosystem in the world. It helps patients here in the US, and it helps us address global threats like COVID-19, as well as stay prepared for future pandemics. And I think we all agree that we want to keep it that way. I so wish that we could all be together in person, and I do believe that day is coming soon, thanks in part to the development of safe and effective vaccines and therapeutics to help us fight COVID-19. But the threat of new and emerging more contagious variants means that we can't lose sight of the threat. As an ER doc, I'm seeing our department and our wards are again filling up with patients that are impacted by COVID-19. Most of the individuals that are being admitted to the hospital are unvaccinated. But we also know that no one's safe until all of us are safe. And so that's why, in part, I'm really grateful to be practicing today in an environment where biopharmaceutical companies have brought to market incredible treatments and preventative measures for COVID-19. When I started seeing patients a year and a half ago with COVID-19, we had mass shortages. We had little to offer patients in terms of therapeutic options. And of course, we had an overburdened system. Today, things look different in some ways. But at the same time, many frontline providers are frustrated by the fact that we have these effective prevention tools, like the vaccines, that are being underutilized. We have it in our ability to control this pandemic, and getting vaccinated is the most important thing that we can do. So if there's someone in your life who is not yet vaccinated, now is the time to pull out all the stops. As frontline providers and as industry are working hand in hand to fight COVID-19, some in Congress are considering harmful proposals in the upcoming reconciliation package that would really cut the knees out from industry at a time when we need them the most. There's no question that some patients pay too much at the pharmacy counter, and efforts should be made to ensure that patients can access and afford their medicine. But at the same time, congressional leadership is focused on targeting just one industry when many have a role to play. It's impossible to solve such a complex problem with a narrow, singular focus. HR 3 and similar proposals that purport to be negotiation really aren't about negotiation at all. And that's because negotiation is already happening between companies, insurers, pharmacy benefit managers. But patients often don't see the benefit of that negotiation because of high deductibles, barriers to access, or discounts flowing to intermediaries as opposed to patients. This isn't a problem that's solved by HR 3. You really have to bring everyone to the table to have this conversation. Instead, what's being talked about in HR 3 and other alleged negotiation proposals is aggressive price setting that makes our healthcare system look more like countries around the world that limit access to medicine. The US has led the world in access to cutting-edge treatments. Patients with advanced lung cancer, for example, they benefited from life-saving immunotherapy before patients in Canada, the United Kingdom, and other developed nations. And that early access bought them time. If you work in a cancer center like I do, you know that early access can help bridge many patients to the next innovation, And oncology today is very different than it was 10 years ago when I finished my medical training. And so while we're working hard to fight the pandemic on the front lines in the labs, I encourage us to stay focused on policies that would meaningfully help patients afford their medicines and not ones that cut the knees out from industry that's really helping provide a better and brighter future for the world. So thank you for this time. I hope you have a great rest of the meeting.